Birdman. This is a special edition here, hanging out, Birdman on the mountain, and I've got with me today Mr. Doug Nick. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. And you
Good.
work for ADOT.
I do.
And specifically the...
I support the motor vehicle division.
Okay.
So I'm a communications guy, and I get to travel around wherever I kind of feel like. And who wouldn't want to come to Show Low, Pine Top, Lakeside?
Yeah.
Anytime.
And you
to
got
talk
to,
about this.
And you got to see some of the ADOT plows working and doing their job this morning,
as
right?
we do this, they're out on the job. We hope, because I got to drive in it too, right?
No, I got to say, just kudos to what they've done this year. So my father was actually ODOT.
Sure.
In Ohio,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
and did plowing. Obviously, a lot of snow
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We've gone through the salting, then
Yeah.
the aggregate, the spray thing that they do now down on the roadways.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I cannot believe how well it works.
The great thing about ADOT and MVD both, which is of course a part of ADOT, is that we're always looking for ways to be more efficient and to do things innovative and come up with ideas to help make the customer experience that much better. So, whether it's highways or MVD, we're working on it.
I'm going to grab something here and I'll flash it because I'm not going to give away my ID. But anyways,
Right,
so
be careful with that.
somebody froze that. I don't care. Go after me. So there's my driver. But there's my new driver's license.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, I said, I went and got the new driver's license. She goes, the new what?
Right.
And like, oh, well, so this wasn't something, let's start you off and set you off in a good frame of mind for everybody watching.
Yeah.
This was not Arizona's doing. This is a federal thing.
Right.
So why don't you explain to us what's going on and why people should or get a new one?
So what you're looking at there, albeit very briefly, is called the travel ID. And the travel ID is a driver license or ID. It is not an additive. It would be a replacement for your current standard driver license if you don't have it. And what happened back in 2005, as a result of the 9/11 Commission recommendations, the federal government, Congress, said, we want to have driver licenses, at least a federal component to that have more ID behind it. In other words, you've done more to prove you are who you say you are. So they put a deadline of October 1 of 2020 where states need to comply with this. And what a lot of states have done, including Arizona, was to say, well, we don't want our driver license to necessarily default to a de facto federal ID. We want to give our customers, our people, a choice whether or not they want one. So in 2015, the Arizona legislature said, okay, we have to be compliant. So the real ID, or what we call the travel ID, will be made available in Arizona, but it's a voluntary matter. So, and it still is. We're one of 37 states that has this kind of dual track, if you will. So as of October 1 of 2020, you might want to think about getting this, because on that date, when you go to the airport and go through the TSA checkpoint, they're going to want a federally acceptable ID. And there are several types of those things, but the travel ID is probably the most convenient.
So just to be clear, if you want to and you don't want to have to get this ID and you have a passport, you can use a passport to fulfill that requirement.
Right. There are several types of federal IDs that are acceptable to the TSA. And I would encourage people to go to AZDOT.gov/travel ID, and you can get a full list of what they'll take. But yes, a valid U.S. passport is one of those things, military, active duty military IDs, and there are some others as well. But, by and large, it's going to be a fairly limited number of IDs that the feds will take to get through the TSA checkpoints, also to get into federal buildings, and if it comes up for you, a nuclear power plant, something like that.
Yeah, I got to run down to the nuclear power plant, pick up some eggs.
As people do.
I don't know, whatever.
Some really mutated eggs or something like that.
The nuclear power plants always have the funniest things. And if I've talked about it in this show before, Adam Conauer and Adam Ruins Everything. Go watch that on security. You'll figure it out. Nuclear power plants were always a big,
Oh, it's a big deal.
I guess they should be. It's not like it's really an issue, though.
Yeah, not too many people visiting those things.
Right. Cool. So I already know what I went through to go, because I'm going to tell you, I went to go, like, I'm just going to bring my driver's license, go get the driver's license. The woman greets me and goes, yeah, hi. So you need to say, she gives me a piece of paper. You need to bring these 3 things, 4 things actually. Right. Go get those, come back. You can skip to the front of the line when you come back, because our local office is actually pretty darn cool. And you have to go to the office. You can't go to like AZ Title or those other third-party ones aren't doing it, just so you know.
There are some that do, but
not up here.
Maybe not in the
here.
White Mountains, but a few will do it. But yes, MVD always will.
But anyways, so explain what you have to have.
So What you need are 3 different types of documentation. The first thing is something that proves your identity, which is like a valid U.S. passport would count, your birth certificate. However, your current driver license or ID is not acceptable for that purpose. That's federal law.
Right.
So a passport or a birth certificate, and then you need something with your social security number as well. So your card or a W-2 form or something that has that number. And then you need 2 pieces of documentation in this third category, 2 pieces of documentation that prove you're an Arizona resident. So your mortgage statement, a rental slip, utility bill is good. And I know in parts of Arizona where a lot of people, such as up here, use a P.O. box instead of their physical address, that gets a little more challenging. But certainly utility bill, cable bill, maybe an insurance document, something with your physical address. And we're even finding out that if you get a piece of junk mail from a business
Right.
or the government, but it has your name and your address on it because it's an official piece of mail, even if it's a credit card, sales pitch, that will work as well.
And I want to bring a light to that because that's kind of important because, like in our family, a lot of the bills are in my name,
Right.
so my wife's names aren't on it, or they're in my wife's name, so my name's not on it. So you need to have these things that have your name on it. Don't just grab some
Right.
mail
Right.
because you end up standing in the line and going, "Oh,
Or if there's a situation where it's like you both are on
that's
you know,
good." Yeah.
John and Sally Jones or whatever the case may be, that will work too. And try to also for people who maybe have changed their name because of a marriage or divorce or something like that, or they go by a nickname. Your name is John, but you've been known by Jack for all your life.
Right.
Try to have all your documentation be the same.
Okay.
And again, you can make an appointment to do this. We'll be happy to see you in the Sholo office. If you just walk in, but you can make an appointment on AZDOT.gov to come in at your convenience. And that's part of the problem is that nobody's carrying all of these things around usually
Right.
on
No, it's
in
not
their
something I carry in
purse
my
or in their
wallet.
wallet or whatever. So it helps to make an appointment. And it's also difficult because we don't get our driver's license updated until you're 65. So that's why we got to encourage people. You got to come in if you want to get this done. If you don't want to do it, you're going to have something that the feds will take in order to get through the TSA.
Very good. Awesome. Once again, Doug Nick with the Arizona Department of Transportation, MVD Division. MVD. I always confuse it because I've moved too many times. MVD. Hey, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Hey, so check that out. And if you need to get it, go get it. You know now the details, and we'll put the links down below. I'm Birdman reminding you, if I don't see you around town, I'll catch you right here on the web.